Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Toa Talk. Before we get into the main episode here, I am considering on changing the format of these podcasts to live streams rather than pre-recorded sessions. Before, I did not view that as necessary, but with the growth of the channel, I would like to start interacting with people directly in chat. So feel free to let me know what you think of that down in the comments. Would you prefer these to be a pre-recorded session? Would you prefer live streams? That being said, if they were a live stream format, they wouldn't be consistent like a week by week or anything. It would just be like a prompt to, like we'll probably give everyone a warning a few days in advance or maybe even a few hours depending on the mood. And with that being said, if you're new to the channel, please feel free to subscribe for other videos like this. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like as it greatly helps out the channel. This episode has a little bit of an abrupt ending because Larnuu had an important call he had to take. But regardless, this is still a really fantastic episode, and I hope you enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of Toa Talk. It's been a little while since the previous episode, but today I have a brand new guest, and feel free to introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Gage. Username in the Lego Bionicle community was Larnuu, LarnuuWorks. You probably recognize me as the green guy from Callan's little live streams. Also, I am like one of the two main guys on the QPunks game development team, which makes like browser games and have been active on Newgrounds.com and itch.io. Pinball Breaker and Greedy Goblins, those were like two big hits like for the Newgrounds audience. Like Greedy Goblins was like third most played game for like, it was featured on the website and it was in the top 10 most played games for like a good chunk of last year. And then Pinball Breaker was one best game of the month for that one. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, those are like the two games of points of references if anybody knows about those. But as far as like the Lego stuff goes, I did this stop motion series called Gakaria Rio back in the day. It was kind of like if somebody watched Pix and Pals and also liked Scott Pilgrim a little too much. And then also did stuff back in the day back when the Custom Bionicle Wiki channel was around. I was like the guy who uploaded the second most amount of stuff on there, actually.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
Now known as the Great Furnace.
Yeah. Oh, also, my other claim to fame, I will say as a quick aside, is IDS and Callan's like whole entire like YouTube Shorts format thing. Literally, I was the one doing it first, and they asked me, "Hey, this is a cool format. Can my OP just lift it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." It's just like, "Okay, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it." And then those motherfuckers outdid me, and they get their views, and they perfected the formula, and I'm like, "Damn, I'm an idiot."
No, well, the thing is now, like YouTube used to push shorts a lot. Like it got to the point where if you made a short, like it would get like a couple thousand views at least. I have a friend that does some comic book movie like videos. Like his name's Brandon Michael, and he had a few reels that got like a couple 100,000 views and they were like just chopping up his videos and all that. But the thing is now, if you do it with YouTube, this is something I discovered a few days ago. I mentioned it to Caleb. He'll probably tell IDS at some point too. But if you push shorts too much now, they will categorize your channel as like a shorts channel, so your main content will not be pushed as much as before.
Yeah, that's stupid. I don't know. See, this is the sort of stuff that honestly is the reason why I'm not super active on social media as I've gotten older, because of the fact that I just want to make some cool shit. I can't be playing like all these games and stuff. So I mean, that's like one of the main reasons why, like, for me right now, like, my internet activity is diminished is because I'm trying to hustle hard to try to get some, tech projects off the ground, so then I can pivot into getting an actual game company and just focus on making video games full time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's the play, that's the hustle on that. I have all the skills, I just need some money, man.
I mean, that's every artist right now. It's starving artist kind of thing going on. But
yeah, well, I ain't starving, man. I want to be fat.
Hey, there you go. New life hack for your next diet. When/how did you get into Bionicle?
Okay, so the deal with that is that there's two conflicting stories on this one. The answer is my parents. The problem is my parents constantly fight on which one of them were the ones that got me my first Bionicle.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So mom's side of the story, which is the one I believe more personally. Sorry, Dad. Is that so basically she, my older brother, who voiced Rio and Gakaria Rio, and also the other half of QPunks, he is liked robots a lot as a little kid. and my mom wanted to buy some robot toys for him, but Transformers was just like too complicated. So somebody at the store was like, "Oh yeah, check out this Bionicle stuff. This would be good for a kid his age." And she was like, "Okay, that's cool." But then she told my dad to, pick up the Bionicles after work. So my dad went and picked up the Bionicles, and he ended up like building them, and he was going to give it to us in the morning. But while building the Bionicles, he was like, "Damn, these things are really fucking cool," and he started like playing around with them a little too much. And he's like a software engineer, and he actually ended up naming like 2 of the servers for the project he was working on at the time, Tahu and Gali, because he just thought they were cool enough. So, but yeah, so. But then, so like we got the Bionicles, but then, so it's like my dad will say, "Oh no, I was the one that got them," but my mom was like, "Yeah, but I was told you to get them, so it was me." So, but yeah, so yeah, my brother got Golly because he liked blue. I got Tahu because I liked red, and then we got my brother got Liwa or Kapaka, but I know that I got Pahatu next, and then because like I liked the ball kicking mechanic, and then then finding out about the Tokieta, then it was like, oh, okay, well you need 1 more each for it, and then that's like how I got like all the original Toho between me and my brother. So like I got Akmai, and basically my brother got Wari or whatever that guy's name is.
Oh yeah. No, so you were there from like the beginning. You're an 01.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. Like honestly, truth be told, my like long-term memory doesn't go far enough back without a time of like remember without Bionicle. Like it's like that ingrained into me.
Oh yeah, how old were you? Did you say?
I think I was like maybe 3 actually when I got got my first Bionicle. Yeah, so it's like that long ago. But like I don't know, like how far does your childhood memory go? Like for me, it's like it only starts becoming a thing around 4.
Oh yeah, no, I remember when I was like 3, 2004. I remember 2004 pretty well. I didn't get into Bionicle until 06, until I was 5. Yeah. But I'd say like the memories started to become a lot more solid in 05. That's when we got like Lego Star Wars for the Xbox, and I had my GameCube and all that.
Cool.
But,
like first one, right? Like not complete trilogy.
Oh yeah, not complete or anything. Yeah, like the original.
Yeah, I grew up with the GBA version actually.
Oh yeah. Like when I was younger than that, it was either my dad's or like we shared it or something. We did have a GBA SP. We had like this Peter Pan movie game on it. I actually still have it. It still works, and I found it one day because like it's funny because like when I found that thing, like I haven't played that thing since like we moved like 3 or 4 times, obviously throughout the span of me growing up. So I was surprised that we actually still had that. And yeah, I bought the charger on eBay at the time. It was like $2 or something for the charger, and it still worked. Yeah, and I haven't had to charge it since. Like it's the battery's like really great on that thing.
Yeah, dude, I love the the SP. Like it was like my it was like it was one of my first systems. It wasn't my very first system, but like that thing in particular like has like it's like has some of my favorite ergonomics, favorite battery life, form factor. Just like even when the DS was out, I'd sometimes just actively just prefer my GBA SP and just like bring that around with me on trips instead of actually just being up to date with the gaming. I did just remember though last year I went to like there's this like local gaming convention. It's more so just it's closer to a car boot sale than an actual gaming convention, but they have like some like really crazy deals for stuff. Like I was able to haggle down and like only pay like something like $15 for Star Fox 64 on the
nice.
Like because I was able to trade it able to trade like an action figure that was like a complete dud of like in terms of rarity, but the guy who was buying it didn't know what he was doing. But anyways,
that's cool.
This guy. Yeah, but in there though, like I was like, hold on a second. That very first Bionicle game where you play as Tekua getting the Makoki stones and all that, actually I've only ever played that in an emulator. I have to check to see if this is like around at the convention. So I was like looking around like those like kind of like where people put like the shovelware games because it's like this game would definitely be like classified as that in like most people's eyes, even though it's actually a pretty decent game. It's not like 10 out of 10, but I mean like for something made within like such a short crunch and like being like a kid's version of a Zelda game, it's pretty fucking good. Yeah, dude, I was able to get that. I think I only paid like $4 for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and like when I found it, I was like with my other friends. I was like, "Dude, I fucking found it!" And they're like not Bionicle fans at all. They're just gamer fans. They're like one guy's like, "Oh, what is that?" And then the other one's like, "Oh my god, you're fucking Bionicle addiction, man."
Yeah, no, that was.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, did you ever play that one, or did you not play that one?
I actually did play that one. Yeah, I played it a couple years back. I wasn't sure if that game was actually like canon or not, and then I found out that it was, and I was like, okay, now I gotta play this. And
Yeah.
yeah, no,
I,
it's quite cool, and it's very very underrated.
yeah, I actually played it because of Alex's playthrough back in the day, like on
Oh
his like little
yeah,
channel.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
here's some like weird little history too. I actually made Alex's like iBionicle and iBionicle like the second channel banners. Like I am actually the one that made those banners for him.
Oh no, that's cool. I didn't know that. There you
Yeah.
go, a little piece of
Yeah,
biotube history right there. That's sick.
yeah. Yeah, I was also like originally how I met Alex actually was that he was talking about wanting to do a website, and my brother like knew about website building stuff, so I tossed the two of them into a group chat together. And then since then, like I had periodic interaction with Alex, being like, "Hey, do you want a voice here and there?" And yeah, I mean, like I get Alex is cool. I like him. I wish I talked to him more, but unfortunately, it's just kind of like he occupies a different space of the internet nowadays than me. Yeah, with like all the VTuber stuff.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, the VTuber stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. Alex is he's a really cool guy. We had him on.
Yeah.
I was gonna say last week, but it's just not true. We had him on like last month, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, really, really great guy. This is my first time talking to him, and yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm really
Yeah,
happy
no,
I got him
I
in.
told I totally want to like catch up with him. Like, dude's absolute riot. Like, yeah, Kalen LF, Caleb actually has met him in real life before.
Yeah, yeah, I
Like,
saw that yeah, on their video
yeah,
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like Caleb's family was like traveling to Colorado, and then they're like, and you know, he's like, hey, how far are you? And then he just took the family car just for a quick detour, just to get ice cream with Alex.
No, yeah, no, that's
And
cool.
this, yeah, I forget if this is COVID pandemic or not at all, but Alex did have his mask on the entire incident.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Alex is low key like probably one of the most creative people to come out of the Bionicle kind of scene. Like,
Yeah, and he's like one of those guys that like I'm going to you know the truth be told, Alex, sorry if you know hear this because maybe this might be like I mean this as like a big compliment, but like the thing is Alex comes across as one of those people that's like so multi-talented that sometimes it feels like it's like it's almost like, well, I'm good at everything, so what do I focus on, you know?
ah,
And that's like
yeah,
kind of what. Yeah, and like my brother is like that type of person as well too. Like for the longest time, like you know he like had a hard time like trying to figure out like what to specifically focus on because he is so multi-talented. So the reason why I actually like video games is because of the fact that because since like you know I like doing music, I like doing animation, I like drawing, I like doing like script writing, all this shit. Video games actually is a better fit for like putting all your disciplines into one place over like anything else I've ever tried. So that's like why it's like become the most addictive thing for me to work on creatively.
yeah. No, well, no, that's really
Yeah.
great. I kind of I have like a similar issue because I like doing so many different things, like different mediums and all that. But yeah, no, like, it's really great to find like a medium, especially video games, like how like they're an actual like storytelling medium where they can be, depending on what type of game you make and all that.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, that's another thing too I like about games is that there's always like, yeah, I don't know, it's like you're able to set forth like different goals with it too. It's like you're like, okay, so like I want to make a game for this skill level. I want to make it for this target audience. I want to make it for the like in this genre. And when you start breaking down these things and start breaking down the questions of like what are the requirements, like who is this supposed to be for, then you start coming up with like more creative answers of like how to make a game to appeal to those people that's different. You know, good examples like Pinball Breaker. Like the core idea with that game is like a lot of people like the idea of pinball, but pinball doesn't really resonate with like as many people as it could.
mm,
And a lot of the core reason for that is that pinball is very much like a points driven game, but it's not as objective driven, and most people's brain wiring is more objective driven. So like I just shifted pinball to be more of a break the target sort of game,
yeah.
and and it became like really addictive for people, and like people get hooked on it all the time.
What's your opinion on pinball and Sonic games? Because it's funny, like I was in voice chat with
Yeah.
Josiah, and he was playing through Sonic CD for the first time. He got to the pinball level,
Uh,
and he he was stuck
uh,
on that thing for like an hour and a half or something. It's
yeah.
so funny.
CD level for an hour and a half? Goodness sakes, dude.
Yeah, I know. No, that dude had to get good at the game. Sorry, Jojo, if you're watching this.
Yeah,
But
dude. Like, it's no Sonic action ever lasts more than like 20 minutes, man. That's saying something.
yeah, when I
Uh,
played through Adventure 1 for the first time, that the casino level took me like 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something. But yeah, no, I've never had
Yeah.
the CD level
Yeah.
when I played for the first time. I think that took me like 10 minutes. That did take me a while, but an hour and a half is
Yeah.
insane. Like that's
Yeah. That's too much. Sorry, Jojo. You get good.
Yeah,
But
good,
yeah,
good.
yeah, but yeah, for me, I've never had an issue with the pinball levels. It's just kind of a serious staple. I don't know. I can't really imagine somebody necessarily hating the physics in a Sonic pinball level though, because like they've always done a pretty good job at communicating it well. The only one of those sorts of stages that I actively dislike is Carnival Night Zone and Sonic 3, Sonic and
Oh
Knuckles.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, that one is like the only one of those sorts of stages I dislike, and just water and the barrel just not good.
Oh yeah.
Actually, here's my question for you. Sonic 3 or Sonic 2?
That's tough.
Games, not the movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Obviously. Yeah. Yeah. If it's 3 and K, then 3. But if it's just the base version of 3, then
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, I got to disagree with you. Even with 3 and K, like I feel like 2 is like the most like tight package of like stage zones and like level design and music and everything. That like 2 is just like, as far as I'm concerned, like one of the most perfect platformers ever made. While 3 like is definitely a good game, but it has like a couple cracks in it, in my opinion.
Damn, so you disagree
And a
with
lot of it
Scott
just
Pilgrim on his favorite video game, Sonic 3
yeah.
and Knuckles?
Yeah, I disagree with Scott Pilgrim. I also disagree with him on the age of consent.
No, yeah, that's right, yeah. No one really talks about that.
Yeah. For the record, Scott Pilgrim versus the World is like one of like my 3 favorite movies of all time.
Oh yeah, no, that's like
Yeah.
almost like again, condensing all those volumes into like one movie. That's like a near
Yeah.
like perfect adaptation. They changed the Sonic line to a Pac-Man line though to make him come across more relatable and not as autistic.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, it's like the guy gets laid by showing talk about Sonic on the
yeah, they're like, no, that's too unrealistic even for this movie. Like, sorry, can't do that.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, it's like there's too much suspicion of disbelief. No manic pixie dream girl like Sonic.
Yeah, it's like, all right, let's change the line to like Pac-Man at least. Like, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, like what now? If that interaction went with Scott Pilgrim going up to a remote, it'd be like, you know why Hello Kitty doesn't have a mouth?
Oh my
That would have
God.
been like completely different.
Oh, dude,
That would have
yeah.
been over. Like he wouldn't even need to fight any X's.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, it just he would have gotten the game over screen like immediately. Like, it's just, yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
geez.
yeah, no, Scott Pilgrim, like the director Edgar Wright. I was watching his stuff like a crap ton when I was a teenager, like right when I was starting to do the Bionicle animation stuff. And Bionicle animation is like basically what I would describe as like my proper introduction to art and all that stuff. So like I still like love Bionicle and like all that sort of stuff. And truth be told, I just wish there were more hours in the day because I would love to still be doing like as much stop motion as I was as a teenager.
Oh,
But
dude, no, I totally agree. Yeah,
yeah.
like when I was a kid, like I would do it as well. I wouldn't really post it a lot, like but like
Yeah.
I when I moved into this house when I was a kid, like there was only like 2 rooms for like my brother and and then my mom was like, let's have a third kid, and then my dad's like, well, we just moved into a brand new house, so like my brother and I got screwed, and so we had to share a room, and he likes Lego now, but like as a kid he wasn't like a Lego kid like I was, so
Yeah.
like obviously there's like a clash. It's like, okay, you can't have like all of your freaking Bionicles everywhere. It's obviously not fair to me.
Yeah.
And all that. So
Yeah.
I didn't have too much space to animate as much as I would when I was like younger. But like, yeah, no, like,
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
wish I could just jump back into doing
Yeah.
that right now.
Luckily for me, like my family always like made sure that I had like spaces for that sort of stuff. Like both of my parents were artists, so they like were very encouraging of art
that's
stuff
cool.
as a kid. I was also like a homeschool kid too, so they were all like, yeah, whatever he's like practicing his hobby will kind of help him out in his career. They kind of understood. Like basically, it was in a weird sense, doing Bionicle stop motion was actually kind of curriculum for me.
Yeah.
It has paid off a lot in adult life still too. But yeah, like Callan kind of was always like that too. Like he was in a similar boat, but maybe like he's a little bit more crammed for space than I was for his animation stuff. IDS man though, dude, like if you've ever seen like I wish he took some more behind the scenes photos of like what he was working with for like a lot of his own effects and palette sets, because usually he was just filming off of his desk in like a small room. That and it's like the same desk that he needed to put like his laptop on or like use if you needed like write things down on a note paper and such.
Oh,
Like
I
he was
see,
working
yeah.
like like he was like basically he was like Tony Stark in a cave with a box of scraps building an arc reactor, man.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. Yeah, he showed me a
Yeah,
little bit of the behind the scenes stuff when he was like, because I was talking to him
yeah,
about like new like techniques I was gonna start experimenting with, and like
yeah.
you know like how Lucasfilm has now like they really pushed this new technology of like the volume for like Mandalorian and all that. I
Oh
was
yeah, like the holodeck thing.
yeah, exactly, and I was I kind of asked him a little bit about that. It's like, have you like attempted that in any way, or like has anyone actually done this on a grander like scale for stop motion? And like he actually did attempt to do that. It was with the graveyard
Yeah.
skit he did. Like when he originally shot it, he reshot it so it doesn't have that. But he was using a monitor, and yeah, no, like he's slept on when it comes to his animation, like especially like now, like he's getting like really
Or his
like
set
good
design
with it.
too.
Oh
Like
yeah,
he's
no, I
I
love his
don't know.
set design. Yeah, like it's
Like honestly,
perfect.
for me, like IDS's stuff is like the go-to. Like this stuff is good enough. I've shown like people just like real life or like non-Bionicle fans just his work. Like he's like so actually the way like was it ever talked about like how I actually ended up meeting IDS and Caleb like on their episodes or not? I'm sorry, I forget right
No,
now.
I actually don't know anything about that. Yeah.
Okay. So story with that one is that like I actually probably was like IDS's like biggest like stalkerish like autistic fanboy like ever. Like for me like Going Pixel Pals like when I first saw that one, it's like damn that's like the fucking best out there because you have to take into account like prior to Going Pixel Pals it was like mostly like like T1 movies and Limited 15 like those
Yeah, of
sorts of
course.
animations. Like
Hmm.
they're good, but they're like but like Going Pixel Pals like felt like an actual TV show.
Yeah, like T1 would
Um,
like animate a lot of like scenes from like movies and shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like more internet meme stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
fine, but it's also kind of like I don't know. It's just like Apex Pals is like an actual sitcom and such. So it's crazy. So I actually wanted to do a collab video with them where I was going to try to get like other Baitu voice actors on it too. I mean animators, but as voice actors on the
Mm.
video. And it's going to be like a parody of Transformers One, but like the first Bay movie, not the
Yeah, the
not the
first Bay
CGI
movie.
animated one.
Yeah.
Yeah. First Bay movie was a Bayformers parody. And now don't ask me why I chose to do a Bayformers parody instead of just doing a Bionicle video. But anyway, but
Okay.
when that ended up happening was that like literally I didn't get responses or follow throughs with anybody I contacted except IDS. Like IDS actually fell through and actually got me the scripts. So then I ended up reusing his audio and animated a news skit called like a Soda Bar, and then that's like that video is was like the first time we collabed. But then but then like shortly afterwards that was like YouTube still had like that messaging feature, so like every week or so or every couple days like we'd have like a quick back and forth on this like feature that's completely dead. YouTube got rid of it now. um but
Mm.
after like a couple interactions and like I think like maybe a month or two of doing this, he was like, "Dude, just like get a Skype account, like hop on, I'll it's like well, let's talk." And then and then first time I went on Skype, he added me to a group with J Comics 98 and Count LF, and so that's how I got to know both of those guys.
Hey, there you go. You got
Yeah,
the in. You got the
yeah,
in.
yeah, and like I knew about Callan a little bit because I had an IRL friend that was like the biggest Maka Vice fan ever. So,
Oh, that's funny.
but yeah, yeah. So it's like I kind of saw account stuff in passing, but like I've always been more interested in animation over like the mocking technique stuff, admittedly, because like I always feel like when you try to build like the best looking Bionicles, you always get the most fragile ones. So it's like you can't animate with this at all. So,
Oh yeah, no, I
um,
completely agree. Because like when I make a
yeah,
mock, like how I got into like really mock making, it was only like a year and a half ago. Like because before that, I wasn't really like that great of like a mock maker. Like I
yeah,
started to get into it when I got the Bricklink Studio, which is basically the advanced version of Digital Designer, and I would basically
yeah,
either mod the sets to make them either more Miramaxy, or I would try to make them more posable, doing that. And then I kind of just started to apply that to like original characters, and I started to get more like I took a more like an overhaul approach with those, and that's kind of how I got better with making mocks and stuff like that. Because yeah, no, but that's always something I'm very, very careful with whenever I make a mock. Like that's why I don't have like too many like crazy like Titan size mocks, because it's like out if he flops over, like it's done. Like I can't do that. Like
yeah.
like I don't want to put him back together if he like falls off my table and like splits into a million pieces. I'd rather just make a new mock at that point. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just me personally.
I would love to start getting into mocking. It's just like my biggest thing is it's like I want to do more stuff with the Mixels pieces, but I just haven't invested in buying a crap ton of those joints necessarily because we were talking about it a little bit earlier. Like for me, like some of my frustrations with Lego and which extends to Bionicle is like I feel like compared to some of like the other hobbies out there, like it just became like way too expensive and not worth. It's like in terms of cost versus reward output for wasting your time. There's like more financially. Yeah, no, it's just like from a financial perspective. There's like other things like I'm also interested in that. Also, it's like a better bang for buck sort of deal.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. That's why
Yeah,
I make a lot of my mocks digitally. Then I'll decide if I want to make it physically or not. Like
yeah,
and also now what I do more times than not is like if the part like I have a lot of 3D printers. I got like a resin printer, I got an FDM printer. I also have obviously I use like knockoff parts a lot, like especially for like because I'm making all these Metronui Ventorian builds that I
yeah,
designed, and it's using like CCBS like joints and all that just because like with the original Metrotorian build they had like those fixed limbs that were kind of like bent at like the 90-degree angle, and they're not really
yeah.
good
Which is like the
building.
worst. It's like the worst angle for like one of those sorts of limbs because the 45-degree angle is like pretty like it's multi-purpose, but then like not the 90-degree one is just like I don't know. I mean, it works for other types of elements, but though for like an actual limb, it makes everybody like tiny and squatty and
Yeah, no, I hate those things when they're used for like limbs. But what I did was that I used like those short CCBS limbs in gray that came like the General Grievous figure. But obviously, if you bought like the official ones of those, it'd be like $2 a piece, which is like not feasible. So luckily, there's
yeah,
knockoffs that are in surplus, like big amounts and
yeah,
in gray. So I've been doing that. I'll send you some pictures maybe
yeah.
later. But
Yeah. Just drop them in chat. But that does remind me, like one of my proudest finds I've ever found when traveling to South America is one time. So like in Mexico, there's this gas station chain called Oxxo, which is kind of like a 7-Eleven sort of deal. But they had like bootleg like Hero Factory like 3.0 like Savage Planet sets in the gas station back in like I'm trying to think it was like during pandemic, so like maybe 2021 maybe
okay, yeah,
2022. So like when I found out, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this! Like the closest thing to finding a Bionicle in the wild I've been able to find. So,
yeah.
yeah, and it what's funny is the bag was like saying one bootleg brand thing, but the second you open it up and you see the instruction booklet, it was like another one of the bootlegs. It's
Okay, yeah.
you've seen online there's like Russian bootleg Bionicle sets, right?
Oh yeah, of course,
Or like
yeah.
yeah. It was like the same one as those basically, and like this set was actually looked pretty authentic, but um, for some reason when they decided to take Nex's helmet, they actually decided to symmetrize it so it's a Nex with two microphones on both sides.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
yeah. Two mics. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I don't really know what to. I can't even like make like a joke with
yeah,
that. It's like, why does he need like two mics? Is he
yeah,
working two jobs or something? One
yeah.
for Hero Factory, and then
Yeah. Well,
one.
yeah, he's working at McDonald's and Wendy's at the same time, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just put the price in the bag anyway.
Yeah, just put the price back. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like I don't know, like that's as far as like my bootleg buying experience goes. Again, not necessarily against it, but it's also just I don't know. It's like I feel like if you remember back when like the couple times where they would just have those buckets of like here's just 200 random Bionicle pieces or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. The 2004
Yeah, like
one. Yeah.
who's ever making bootlegs just needs to make those.
Yeah, no,
That's
for
what I
real.
want.
Well, they're getting really
Yeah,
really good now too, because you have the Kenny's Mox guy that makes like the hows, and he has the Ignikas now. I
yeah,
just bought some of the
yeah,
Ignikas the other day.
yeah.
Some of my buddies. So
Which those are cool, but also part of me is thinking like, okay, we do have enough masks. Let's get something else in here.
yeah, no, like I definitely agree. I just think like getting those ones are good. Like I mean, I would prefer the O1 masks to be prioritized personally, but
Yeah,
like the obviously like a pearl gold Ignika replica, I wouldn't mind having one, especially because I don't have the official one, so that would be pretty sick.
yeah,
But yeah, and obviously like for mocks and like dioramas or something like that, like it'd just be cool to have it on display without having to shell out like $400. Like that would, yeah. And
yeah,
I'm not against the idea of bootlegs, but like in my opinion, like if Lego isn't giving us like what we need, then like they kind of give us no choice on that front, and they don't care about
oh yeah, no,
Bionicle too
totally. I
much.
mean,
So
like Lego. So and the fact that they just kind of haven't just fully just embraced like a Bionicle revival at all is honestly really frustrating, and it's stupid on all fronts, especially when you look at entertainment and media right now, where original IP is just kind of like, um, I don't know, you get this IP paradox where it's like, from a business and investment perspective, they're like, oh, we only want to use like IP with a proven track record, but then it's also like, well, but we also like are also afraid to just like make new IP because it's unproven. So Bionicle is like in this weird state where it's like it hasn't, honestly, G2, while what did underperform, there are like franchises that have had come back from a bigger like revival flop than what Bionicle
Oh, I
experienced. Truth be
totally
told,
agree. I think G2 like was. I mean, it wasn't. It's not that I think. Like, I know, and like, it's a proven fact that G2 was a flop. Just with like the fact that
yeah,
they didn't reach that third year alone. But like,
yeah,
it wasn't like it's not brand ending. Like I would argue that like a franchise like Star Wars is in a way worse spot than Bionicle is in. Aside from the fact that
yeah,
Bionicle is obscure and Star Wars isn't obscure, just because it,
yeah,
it will always be like
yeah,
iconic. But like, yeah,
yeah.
you could definitely come back from that, like 100%.
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
yeah,
like other toy franchises, unfortunately, like I'm not a Hasbro guy, so I wouldn't be able to rattle them off the top of my head. But there are examples that you can point to of like, things that had like a really bad G2, but then came back really strong with the G3.
yeah. I know that happened like once or twice with like Transformers
Yeah.
and even like I know like Farshy, like back when Bionicle first ended, he was saying like this with like Star Trek, how like the fans kept Star Trek alive until Generation 2 came out like 20 years later, something like that.
Next Generation was 20 years later.
I don't remember honestly. I know
Uh,
I know first gen was in
I
the
did check.
60s. Yeah, but like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
next generation was either 90s or 80s, I think. I'm not
Okay.
100%.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
like no, like I definitely think it can return, and I
Yeah.
made a video a little bit. It's like now my most viewed video on the channel.
Yeah.
But like saying like, because the thing is like when you talk to a lot of like older fans, a lot of them kind of turn into like a doomer when they talk about like G3. They're just like they either will have unrealistic expectations, or they'll kind of be like oh, it's impossible, or like the brand's tainted from G2 or all that. And I just think it's like, dude, like come on, like I
I
don't know.
think I think the big thing is like number one, a lot of people got it, like there's the whole like new like adult like Lego fan, the AFOL, but though like there's like a whole influx of people who weren't necessarily like Lego nerds who just became like Lego consumers now, like because the hobbies blew up like over COVID and such.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also like one of the big issues G2 ran into was it in a lot of sense it was actually too soon to be nostalgic enough for people. Like nowadays it's like
Yeah, I
a lot of
agree.
people our age who liked Bionicle, but then like they didn't realize G2 even happened because they weren't into it. So there
Mm-hmm.
is like if you want to catch that nostalgia net, this is a better time now than when G2 came out. So it was just too early was the deal with that one.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, one
Which
thousand
is which
percent.
is psycho to say because like again like I was like, well, I can't believe Bionicle's gone. Oh my god, it's back! But like honestly, what would have been the best turn of events was if I had to wait longer for Bionicle to return.
Oh yeah, well, especially with how G2 went, like it would have been way better just
Oh
to
yeah,
hold off
dude,
for a long
like
time.
like like G2 like the way that's so watered down and like let's I'm going to call it gentrified Bionicle. That's what G2 is, gentrified Bionicle. It's like it lost all of its flavor and personality basically, and I don't get it. Like I don't get how anybody really can like kind of like half tolerate G2 when it's just such a nothing burger.
Well, like here's the new thing now too. I made a video about this about. I think by the time this video comes out, it'll be by like a week when the other ones come out. But this was also in like this thing that I shared with you of like the Egypt folder and stuff within
Oh
that
yeah,
that leak thing. So like G2, it wasn't supposed to be like Bionicle. It was supposed to be like a new theme. Which because I made that video on the original plans for it, Christian Faber has now been posting stuff about what it was supposed to be. So I don't know if I
yeah.
nudged him to to post about it or something. But I mean
No, you
he
got some misinformation he needs to correct, man.
maybe, yeah, I
You
don't
got
know,
to
but
fact check that.
he's actually subscribed to the channel. I checked my subscriptions for the first time like a few days back.
Hello,
Actually,
Faber. Hello, Faber.
yeah. So I doubt he's listening, but like, yeah, I mean, it's an honor that
Yeah,
he's subscribed for sure.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah. So like, it was supposed to be this theme, and like, because like you'll notice like a big difference between like the first wave of 2015 and the second wave, just with like
yeah.
the quality and all that. Even though like I'm not like a huge fan of the 2015 Toa, like they're probably the best sets in like the entire G2 theme. They're a lot
I
more
would say
beefed
they're
up.
best sets of G2. Some psychos try to say those sets are better than G1, which are
Oh
dead
yeah,
wrong. Like,
no, no, those guys are insane.
yeah,
And yeah, so like I think what happened when they decided to make it Bionicle is that they had like a quick turnaround. They played it safe with like the first Toa, and then they started to reuse these old concepts like from the Lego Ancient line, which is a lot of these Egyptian themed construction sets, which I think was
yeah,
supposed to replace Chima. I didn't show any pictures or
yeah,
anything because obviously I don't want the channel like taken down, but like all the Skull Warrior sets were from that as well. The 2016 Toa were basically just a recolor of like the character that they had from the Lego Ancient line
mhm,
as well. Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, I don't know. What do you think about that? Of them just like reusing like concepts and not like changing them a whole lot? Because I don't mind reusing old ideas as long as they're like properly melded into what the new thing they're supposed to be. Um,
I mean, Bionicle itself already reused like a lot of like slicer concepts and such. So the idea of something from a previous Lego theme carrying over to the next is not like some sort of heresy. But the
mhm,
thing is, though, that Bionicle has like such a clear, definitive identity. Like even before, um, like they had like a lot of like detailed story Bible stuff, a lot of like internal pitch presentation things that really had like a clear, defined vision for what Bionicle was. Um, when when it was being made at this like with generation one. So for G2 to kind of be a little bit more playing it loose, kind of haphazard, oh let's turn it into this other thing retroactively and such, it just yeah, just it really kind of messes up the whole entire thing where Bionicle, again, like one of its core strengths is its core identity,
yeah,
it has a confidence and knows what it is. While G2, if it's like you're trying to change one thing to make it more like the other thing, then that like I don't see a core like it doesn't really fully have its like own independent identity. It almost is like doesn't know what it is.
no, I completely agree. Again, like I just don't really know like why if their plan from the get go was to reuse those old concepts, why didn't they just do that for like the first wave? Because like they made whole new designs for 2015, and then they started like recycle stuff in the later half, and then obviously in 2016 it was like almost all recycled. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think they just
Yeah,
got
I don't know.
lazy, or do
It's
you think time constraints just kind of made them be like, oh, let's just use the old stuff? Like,
I don't know. Like I wouldn't be able to be the one with inside baseball to give you an educated
yeah, no,
guess on that
yeah,
one.
no, sure thing.
But I will say though, like what like did you ever watch the Toys That Made Us documentary on Netflix or no?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So you saw the Lego episode and like the really like big crushed PNG image of Faber that they had in that episode.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But one of the things though that they definitely brought up was that like that you one of the executives they interviewed brings up like a lot of like what the higher ups detracting opinions of Bionicle are, and a lot of those opinions like you can be like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? That's retarded. But
Mhm.
no, I don't. Is that a cool word? Do we say that here? Because people can't decide on if that one's a
You're
good word or not.
you're allowed to say whatever you want. I
Okay.
yeah, no,
Okay.
you
Well,
say whatever you like.
that word stays. Sorry, people. Like, I'm in Argentina right now. They like that word anyway.
Yeah.
Which, but yeah, no. But the deal is though with a lot of the stuff though is that the there's a good chunk of people that do work higher up at Lego who felt like Bionicle was antithetical to what the core vision of Lego was. And one of the things they didn't like about Bionicle was that they felt like there were too many specialized parts and they weren't like being able to be used for enough things. Now, if you build with Bionicle, you will know that feet are like one of the most important elements in all of Bionicle and like are super useful. Like you can use feet for a torso, a limb, a weapon, or as actual feet, a head, all that stuff. So the idea that one Bionicle part is only used for one thing isn't true,
Hmm.
but is a dissenting opinion that a lot of people run on, and it's a platform that they run on. So I feel like CCBS was kind of like trying to fix that problem, trying to basically bring more of like a modular brick like approach towards the previous construction action figure approach. The problem with it though is that with all the CCBS stuff, like as it got on, like by Invasion of Below, everything started feeling homogenous. That's done with those pieces and that style, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it just for me, I think they needed to have more different things, but I think at the time they were very much trying to they were pushing against the very thing that they needed to be doing.
Yeah, like, and the thing is too, like, I mean, Bionicle back in '01, it it was riding off of Technic, and a lot of the builds were very Technic heavy, like especially like the Chiraga and the Rahi. Obviously, the Toho, that was like when they were like almost all entirely like specialized molds and things like that. But I don't know if they were to bring back Bionicle, I can understand why like like the molds thing might be like an issue. But I think like honestly, if you're creative enough, you can probably make use of a lot of great Technic parts. I sent this video to you directly, but this is a revamp of a Tahunga slash Mictoran created by Wombat Combat Pictures. It's a pretty old mod,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it mainly uses
Jamie,
Technic
pull up the
parts.
clip.
Oh, it mainly uses Technic parts like for the torso, and it's way more posability than the original figure. I mean, obviously, like you still have like some old molds there. Like obviously, like the arms themselves, you can probably swap out for like system or whatever.
Yeah.
Like really, the only new molds here, because Lego still uses that socket piece in the torso, in the middle. They still use that. The only new mold that they would have to make, or new molds, would be like feet, head, mask, and then.
Yeah, and also I do hate the whole old molds argument, honestly, because I feel like
yeah, especially now knockoffs
because it's
exist.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. It's like the knockoffs that existed, and like I've been saying this argument even before good knockoffs existed. I'm like they and also it's like with like when was it Mattel or Hasbro that did He-Man? I think it was Mattel, right? Whatever, whatever.
That's Mattel,
like whatever one of the two though. It's like the thing is though, like the original molds for those He-Man action figures, like they were only good for like a number of printings. They would go bad and they would have to be thrown out. So it's like you have these molds, but molds don't last forever. You have to replace them and make new ones. And so like the idea of like even if basically molds get thrown out even while the thing is still alive, And He-Man has been able to also return with like its replica and like legacy like reprints and such years after. So I'm just saying it's like literally any molding argument goes away with any baseline knowledge of He-Man.
No, I 1000% agree. I've always said that too, and all that, because I don't know, people I don't know, it's like a big issue of the Bionicle kind of community. Like there's a lot of like creative stuff in here. There's a lot of like creative people. People do some really cool stuff. I just repeated myself like 3 or 4 times. I don't know why I did that. But like there's a lot of dooming and all these weird like I don't know like just doomer attitude. It's just stupid.
Well, also a lot of Bionicle fans they'll take a sentiment and they run with it as kind of like it's law, and they kind of repeat it and they just kind of
a lot of them don't think. A lot of them just like copy other people's opinions, and like those people are entitled to their opinions, but like obviously like you're allowed to rebuttal them if you have a good argument.
Yeah. Like the thing is like for me personally, like I've always highly valued individuality and basic originality of thought. You don't have to have like the most like wild out there opinion, but the fact that you came to that conclusion and you hold that opinion because you thought of it yourself, like I value that a lot in people.
Yeah,
and one of the core reasons why is like basically any artist who I feel like has been worth a damn like within like the basically I don't know like ever. They've always been like highly individualistic people. I mean, Masahiro Sakurai, Hideo Kojima, Edgar Wright, George Lucas, like all these people are very individualistic individuals.
Yeah.
And a lot of them like they have their strong opinions of like basically their perspectives and such, which then gets reflected out in their creative output and all that. So to me, as somebody who definitely strives to be an artist. Like I always found that principle important, and and affected like my lens for like how I perceive and view things a lot. So it's a little bit frustrating when I see that happen in the Bionicle community as well, because of the fact that it's supposed to be a more creative community, has a lot of overlap with like say makerspace community stuff,
Yeah.
but but at the same time too, it's like if you're going to be making stuff but then parroting other people's opinions, it's like I don't know, it's just like is what you're going to be making that interesting?
Yeah, I noticed this with like a lot of like IP heavy like Lego fan groups. Like a lot of them kind of just come to either the same conclusions on a lot of things, or they end up kind of making the same thing as like another person, which I think is like fine. You know, like
Yeah,
whatever. Like it's like a hobby, so it's nothing to be taken like too seriously. But yeah, like
yeah,
I definitely agree with your point, Larry, for sure.
yeah. And admittedly, that's like kind of like another reason why, um, like my creative output when I entered college shifted away from being as Bionicle centric was because of the fact that you'll have people out there who just only really, are entertaining your ideas because it's riding the coattails off of the pre-existing IP that they're a fan of, rather than them liking your specific thing itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like a good majority of Cal fans were people there just because they wanted to watch a modded episode. Then was kind of like like it was like I don't know. It's just like they didn't have like any actual Bionicle thing, so this is like the next best thing that they could go to.
Yeah,
But then
yeah,
when Callan actually started making like something original, or started like putting more of his like personality or attitude into stuff, like say stream highlights content, then you had people being like, I don't like stream highlights. I'm like, screw you. That's like
yeah,
his
man.
best content he's ever done. You know.
Yeah, no, it's funny as
So it's
fuck.
like
Yeah.
so a lot of these people, they're not really like fans of each other's work. They just want supplementary material to the main thing that they're fans of. And that's the reason why also I kind of don't really engage a whole lot with like fan art stuff as well too, because that happens a lot with illustrators, where they might draw like a couple things really good, but then like when they post anything else, they just only want like fans only want just the drawing of that one thing. Like all
Yeah.
I'm saying is if I posted how much I draw Sonic in my sketchbook online, I would run into the same Bionicle issue, but with Sonic fans.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Honestly, that was kind of like my biggest fear of making like a Bionicle channel, because like I've made a bunch of other channels before. Like the last time I had a Bionicle channel was when I was like a kid, and like my other channels were a little bit more like diverse. They were talking about like movies and video games, very multimedia kind of based. Um,
Yeah,
and I was making those videos with my friends too, so it wasn't just like me making them. But with the Bionicle stuff, like I don't know, like I kind of started to make this like for fun. I mean, like this is all still obviously like for fun.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and like I do other things, but like honestly, like, I wouldn't do this with any other IP. Like if this was a bigger IP than it was, I probably wouldn't be making videos on it. You'll never
yeah,
catch me making like a Star Wars or a DC channel or anything like that. I might bring them up, but I will never like ride off the coattails of another franchise like that unless it's Bionicle, because Bionicle's like it's it's in a Mad Max scenario right now where no one really has ownership over it. um,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's
So like,
it's kind of it's like an endangered species. You need to put like a little bit of your like world wildlife donation into there.
yeah, exactly. And also, it's like I love the world of it so much, and I love like the figures so much,
Yeah,
and I want to find other
yeah,
people that still like them while they're still around too. So like I'm really happy,
yeah.
like I'm buddies with the
Like
guys that you are buddies with now, and other yeah.
yeah. And like my passion project video game definitely has like strong Bionicle ties to it. Anyways, I mean how like the main character wears a mask literally because I like Bionicle, and Tekua is like actually one of the core character inspirations for that character.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, the little Ace character he appears in Pinball Breaker. But anyway, yeah, that guy though but like that game though, it's again I really want to make that, but I just need a damn budget and team to help with it. But basically that one's just going to be like a character combat game, but combined with a platformer.
Do
But
you have a
um,
Patreon?
I do have a
All right,
Patreon.
I'll put it in the description. I don't know if we'll get
Yeah.
anybody, but I'll put it in the
Yeah.
description for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like the way I structure my Patreon actually is like I do again actual Lego influence here. Like I try to structure it closer to something like Lego Club magazine, so I like drop like monthly designs of like recapping the development and such. But I do as like a PDF with like more of like a magazine layout because like I hate how blog posts look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
so yeah, it's like basically like my little like if you want to support the game stuff, it's just Punk's Backstage's design that I do for monthly. And right now, actually, the big project I'm doing on Punks is a Gakaria Rio video game. So
how
which
ambitious is that game?
So that game is going to be like it's not going to be it's probably going to be like closer to a $10 price point if it ever gets sold on Steam.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like not like I'm going to add more features to it, but like as far as like gameplay goes, like I'm using Streets of Rage as kind of like a benchmark of like what like the level of complexity and how many features need to be put into games. So a lot for like a one-man indie team, but though it's definitely not going to be like fucking Elden Ring, you know?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but like that one though, what's funny is that so that game in particular, the reason why I ended up doing it was for years a lot of people have been wanting me to do a Gakaria Rio game, or have been asking about a Gakaria Rio game ever since I started doing it, because to anybody who's watching this episode who's not familiar with Gakaria Rio, it was a Bionicle stop motion sitcom I did. And it had like something about like 14 episodes or so, and episodes range from like either 5 minutes to 10 minutes long. Callan voiced a lot in episodes, IDS voiced in episodes, Alex voiced in episodes, I believe. I'm trying to think of who else. Byrock Dude was in one. Unfortunately, we did not get LJ in an episode, but anyways.
Well, you can always AI his voice, you know. I think he's
yeah.
That, so.
Yeah, I think also the Callan fans also love that too. Anyway. Yeah. But
I am channeling.
But yeah,
so.
Done. Yeah. But though for the Gakaria Rio series though, it's just like the Bionicle thing, but it's like again, as I mentioned before, like I had like a strong like influence from Scott Pilgrim versus the World in there, and like the later episodes like had like a lot of motion graphic elements inspired off of like what was seen in the movie. Obviously not as good, but it was what I was going for at the time, and I would still love to revisit that with something, because like having like a lot of VFX compositing with stop motion, but having it be more cartoony elements like that, or like video game elements, like I feel like it is a cool concept still. But afterwards, though, like in college, like my thesis film in college was actually like readapting Gakaria Rio as like a fully original cartoon, and I did my college thesis film and an animated short. But around that time, I realized that I didn't want to actually go into video production or TV animation because of where the industry was getting at. Either you're going to get diddied or you're going to get screwed out, because like the industry doesn't respect animators, and you'll end up being like that one guy from Adult Swim who's like a UPS worker now, even though he like was like one of the core members of Space Ghost Coast to Coast. But
yeah, well, you could end up like Blizzard though. You could still end up like Blizzard with the Shrine.
Yeah, damn. Yeah. Let's hope we don't go like Blizzard.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, like if I end up like anybody, I hope like if I have to have a crash out like anybody, I hope it's like Phil Fish, where it's just like, fuck you, you're not getting a sequel to my game, and he just has a little crybaby fit online and disappears from the internet. But yeah, for Gakaria Rio though, so because video games were like a core focus, half of the episodes were actually centered around characters trying to get trying to get a hold of a video game and getting into fights and shit about that. People wanted a Gakaria Rio game, and I did feature them in a couple, but I never actually gave them a dedicated game because for like a small like little browser game project, it just didn't really feel like it was appropriate because of how story driven Gakaria Rio was. But after finishing Space Girls Can't Swim, which is like a visual novel parody that I did with my brother, in that game, like I realized that like that game would have like, it's like, well, what if I took that like that gameplay idea of like visual novel but with mini games, but then expanded it to be visual novel but with more complicated gameplay. So then that's where the Gakaria Rio game is kind of going with it, where it's going to be a visual novel with branching stories, but then like depending on like what happens in the visual novel portion will end up happening with different things in gameplay scenarios. So like as kind of like a quick spoiler to kind of like an early part of the game, that I plan on, and it's like sometime I plan on having in the final game, is that there's like this nerd character that named Mirasama that Gakaria always like. They always give him shit while Mirasama's like always desperately trying to be their friends.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a part where like you're interacting with him, and you can either choose to be a jerk to him or you can choose to be nice to him. If you're a jerk to him, when you get to the next level, you just play through it normally. But if you're nice to him, like in the middle of the level, he'll actually give you like a weapon to help you fight off the people, and it will actually make the difficulty easier. So like that's the sort of stuff that I'm trying to build in that game. But before I can do like the full story and scenario branching out, like I'm currently in a point where I'm trying to get like all the gameplay mechanics put together. So trying to get like all the enemy types and making sure that the core beat 'em up engine works correctly. And the way that's going is it's like going to be again like a Streets of Rage game or a Double Dragon sort of game, but it's going to have like a tag team mechanic. So you press a button and you can switch between Gakaria and Rio, kind of like Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
get a little bit of that Mario Kart Double Dash in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'll send you I'll send you a demo build so you can get
Oh,
some like
sweet.
OBS capture and toss it up the screen.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'll put it
but
on. Yeah, it beats
yeah,
the
but
cutscenes that I've overused to death like crazy.
yeah, yeah. Right now the demo build is like kind of like survival mode, just kind of like just doing like the wave-based survival stuff because that forces me to build all the enemies, and then like after I get that in a place that feels good, then I'm going to start building the level stuff out. But there's like other ideas in there too. Like I don't know how much platforming I'm going to be able to put in the game given the genre type, but it'd be nice to do a little bit of it. But the graphics though are all going to be like low poly, kind of like Mega Man Legends sort of like graphics in there because doing models that way, you're able to get something that looks good, but like runs on low end hardware very nicely. So I like that, but also it's but I was trying to think if I put it you're also able to get like a decent turnaround time and also work around different technical issues because one of the big issues with 3D animation is basically getting your deformations correct in like a mesh. So like if you have a character that's like in high poly, think like a Pixar character, and their arm bends, you have to make sure that the bend in the arm is like looking correct. So and like it doesn't, it's like how an arm actually bends. And to get the deformation correct, you have to go through this process called weight painting, which if you ask any 3D artist, weight painting is like oftentimes considered like one of the most grueling parts of the process. If you work with low poly models though, you can actually circumvent the whole weight painting process if you know what you're doing. So I was able to get it looking like that, and it also has a retro vibe. So it's basically a balance between style and practicality.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like over COVID, I was learning Blender because I specifically wanted to actually do 3D sculpting to make 3D printed action figures, but then it ended up being like really useful for video games. Like Blender is like one of those things that I'm like a little too into nowadays.
Yeah, I've been trying to get into Blender more and more because I do a lot of like resin printing and FDM printing as well. And like I like to make custom parts for my mocks, but I also want to start making like my own like action figures. Like to kind of talk more about like the video game side of stuff, like I have the Resource Sonic figures, like not like all of them, but like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Sealed. I have the Toy Island, Eggman, all that, and
lucky bastard.
I want like I got them like before they got crazy expensive. I'm sure they're even more expensive now because of the newest Sonic film. But like I bought them like they were like sealed, so I was like, fuck, I want to open these, but I also like don't. So I might just make my own 3D model version where they're a lot more inspired by those models because I really love how it's like trying to take that art style from the adventure era and put them, because that was like the way they would make action figures back when they wouldn't have like 3D models necessarily. They'd have to sculpt them based off a piece of artwork, and that's what I really like about Resource. And they were supposed to do Adventure 2 figures, but obviously like the company got shut down before they could do that. But yeah, so
I love how certain vintage action figures look. There's like, it's hard to find like one that's like, because sometimes the sculpting is a little clunky, but when you find one that like looks really good, then you're like, holy shit, I love that. Like, are you a fan of Trigun by any chance?
What's that?
Trigun, are you a fan of that
Oh,
anime
Trigun.
by any chance?
Oh no, I don't watch a lot of anime. My brother does though.
Fuck,
He's an athlete,
dude,
but
like,
he loves anime. It's funny.
yeah, no, he's like training to be Goku.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, for real. Yeah, like on
Yeah,
my door,
yeah,
like, cause I share a room with my brother when he lives here, cause
yeah,
he's at a university or college right now in the
yeah.
states. I'm up here in Canada. Um,
Hmm.
my youngest brother with my mom, they painted like this little thing for the door, cause my brother, because my mom was really into painting for a while, and she painted this like wolf painting for my brother, and my brother was like, well, let's make one for Ben and my other brother. And so he put two characters on there. He put Batman and Goku on it. So if you look at my door to my room, it just has like the Batman and Goku painting on it. It's pretty funny.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like if you're gonna watch Trigun and if you ever want to know like basically like what exactly like what my exact tastes are and like what like basically of like the easiest way I always tell people this is like if you want to understand like how my brain works, my personality, a lot of my worldviews, like all this shit, just watch Trigun. Like it
Okay.
just
Yeah.
is like it's the one thing that like when I was watching, I was like, holy shit, I wish I was the one that made this thing
Yeah. No, that's
because
how I
it's
felt when I
like
was playing
it,
Metal Gear Solid, dude. I was like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's like, but yeah, like the Trigun, though, there were these figures that were done by like Medicom Toys. I don't know. It's like the people who ended up making Rebel Tech. But like one of their like early figures, like late '90s, early 2000 figures, they did Plant Gunsmoke Trigun. And that line of action figures, holy crap! It like the while the joints maybe are like a bit limited, sculpt work and paint work is like phenomenal for like pre-digital printing like stuff going on. You know, it's like
Mm.
some of the stuff um like it like all the face sculpts look right, all the eyes like the eyes don't look awkward and all that stuff. It's insane that you were getting figures that were looking like that in the anime style before say like Figma from Good Smile Company or SH Figure Arts from Bandai.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
no, like the whole
yeah,
process was totally different back when, and like the stuff that
yeah,
they make now is like obviously posability wise, and like the paint won't like rub off because like it's kind of rare for certain things to be painted now. They'll just be dual
yeah.
molded. Um, yeah, yeah. I haven't really gotten
I feel like
too many new things.
joint and plastic quality got kind of got bad though post pandemic though. Like pre pandemic,
Yeah, yeah.
like the weirdest point of reference is the best years for action figure like balancing between like basically detail and manufacturing quality was actually Trump presidency.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. No, I got some Hot Toys here. I don't buy like a lot of them, but like there was like a little period when my friend Brandon was like kind of peer pressuring me and my friends to get some, and I end up getting like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man one. I have a few Star Wars ones, but I haven't opened them. I'm actually selling them right now.
Okay. Yeah.
but
Good
yeah, like
call.
like they're cool. Crazy quality, but yeah, like yeah,
Yeah,
I,
like hot toys, like it's a bit too much for me personally. Like
yeah, that's
I
fair.
don't
Yeah.
like I don't like fabric or silicone action figures really. I like them like when they're hard plastic or like they have
Oh, I
rubber
see.
elements.
I see. I see.
Yeah, like Storm Collectibles is like the most I'll pay for an action figure. Like they do like a lot of like fighting game stuff like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I personally got them because they dug deeper for things like Virtua Fighter and King of Fighters. But there are also probably like maybe like in terms of like action figure anime overlap sort of communities, the Baki figures is probably like the most they're probably most known for that right now
Mm.
because like Baki became huge and like they people that's like the one company that was making the actual posable figures for that anime.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so to tie it back to like the core topic of the podcast though is like like I like a lot of those sorts of figures that we're talking about right now. Like I've reviewed them on the shorts tab on my channel.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, I
yeah,
noticed you made the shift to that with looking at the.
yeah, yeah,
I forgot what the
yeah,
new ones are called for the Sonic ones, but yeah,
yeah.
looking at those
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, the Jax specific
Yeah,
figures, which
that's
the
right.
Jax figures, yeah, that like IDS is giving me crap because he's like the phrase Jax specific is just like so ingrained in his head because I've had to say it so many times. And like when I like, and if I, if he catches me going off being like, "Hey, I bought this new cool toy," it's like, "Oh, is it Jack specific?" I'm like, "Okay, shut up, asshole."
I got the Omega one. I got the Omega
Yeah,
figure. That's the
yeah,
only Jax fig
yeah,
I got because I was like, oh,
yeah,
Omega, that would be pretty
yeah.
epic to have.
Like Yeah, I got like all the characters that popped up in Sonic Heroes except Neo Metal Sonic. Like I need to grab him
Oh,
still,
they
but
made
like
Neo.
yeah, they made Neo, dude. Like
Oh damn.
last figure I got was Mephiles, which I think they just used the Shadow Generations model for Mephiles.
Yeah, yeah. What was your opinion on Shadow Gens?
Oh, a peak. Like
Peak, yeah.
it's like easily in the top three best Sonic games ever.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's probably like top
Yeah,
3 or 4 for me. Like, cause I was
yeah,
like, cause I've been like, I was a much bigger Sonic fan when I was a kid. But like
yeah.
obviously throughout the years, I wasn't a fan of like the meta era with like Roger Craig, like the Roger Craig Smith Sonic
Yeah, yeah,
games.
yeah, yeah,
I wasn't
yeah, yeah,
really into those ones too much. I like Generations. I wasn't a Colors guy. Forces, I was
yeah.
like, fuck this. And then I quite like Frontiers, but I was still like, okay, maybe it's time for the Roger era to end. He's been Sonic for like 15 years or something now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. It's
actually
like he's
weird.
been the
Yeah.
longest. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so weird because they had Ryan for a couple years, and then they had Jason
yeah,
for a couple years, and they were just like, okay,
yeah.
almost 20 years of Roger. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this isn't really fair. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm a team Jason guy. Like
I'm a Team
Jason was
Jason guy
my
too.
favorite.
Yeah, he's my
Yeah,
favorite.
yeah,
I
okay,
like
yeah,
Ryan a
fuck
lot,
yeah,
but like, yeah, no,
yeah,
Jason's like my goat.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like Jason got like I don't know, like like the way that like it's weird to describe it, but there is obviously early Jason is not as good as like later Jason, but I feel like the attitude like works really well for Sonic because of the fact that if he wants like I don't know, it's like if he wants to be an asshole, he can be like the biggest asshole in the world. It's like they have that guy guts, but then it also if he wants to be nice, he can also sound legitimate while doing the same voice.
Yeah,
Um,
no, he.
like Ryan just kind of comes off as just kind of like happy-go-lucky, all catchphrases. It's like there's as much brain going up in like Ryan Sonic's head as like Mario's head.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
no, I
like
know what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like goofy, all little cartoon character. While while Jason like it felt like I don't know. It's funny. It's like I think Jason Sonic would have actually might have actually been a better fit for the Sonic Adventure 2 dub.
Yeah, and yeah, like that being said, I do think that Jason did do a great job with a lot of those lines in the Sonic X adaptation of that game.
Yeah,
I think he
yeah,
did a good
like
job, despite like their weird little changes. They didn't do as many changes as the new movie did, but like it's pretty good
yeah.
adaptation.
By the way, I've not seen any of the Sonic movies, by the way. Like, I just can't
Really?
watch them because, yeah, like for when I watched the Lego movie the first time as a kid, I was too anxious because I'm like, are they going to screw this thing up? So I literally couldn't enjoy the movie. So I have this weird thing where it's like, if I enjoyed the IP way too much, like I can't watch any Hollywood adaptation of it.
You
So
know
like, I
what?
just don't
I've
do it.
gotten like that with a lot of IPs I like. I'm not gonna say which ones, but
No.
like I've really gotten
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
with Sonic low, I was like my expectations were very, very low. Like I was like, okay, I know they're never gonna do the stuff that I wanna see or like the way that I want
Yeah.
to have it done. I know they're not
Yeah.
gonna do that. So once you kind of take
Yeah.
that away and you look at it like as its own thing, you're kind of like surprised by some of the stuff that
Yeah.
they did. Um,
Uh,
but like, yeah. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, they don't seem like bad movies, but they also seem like they're. I don't know. It's just. It sounds silly, but it's like it's like it's too silly for what I want out of Sonic.
Hmm.
I want the blue rat to like be more serious. I know it sounds
I know.
stupid, but I'd
No,
be
I
like,
completely
but
agree.
like but like I love Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2's lore and all that stuff. I know those are two things that I've gone off maybe a little too much when talking with my friends and such, but like I love like the ancient lost civilization shit that you get with Sonic, as well as also like kind of the ancient technology stuff, all that, all of that there. Like Adventure 2 uh, is such a crazy game that because it's like has so many layers going on it. Especially when you look at it in the context of like how at the time Sonic team thought that could have been their very last game,
Yeah,
like that they
it
were ever going to
was.
make for the franchise. So like one thing people never talk about Adventure 2 is it's also like the game that explains Eggman's origins. Because it's like Eggman only exists because of the fact that like basically like if Gunn didn't kill like Gerald and Maria, basically Eggman probably would have not existed at all. So they created the biggest terrorist in the world in that universe.
Yeah, no, for real,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it's like and also like it shows like a lot of like the core of like his like core inspirations of like why he became a genius and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know. To me, there's like constant layers like that. That that people just don't give that game enough credit for it on there, and that's like one reason why seeing Sonic 3 being an adaptation of that game, I'm like, there's like too many things that it's like, I don't know. A lot of my favorite stories, especially in video games, tend to have like the kitchen sink approach in terms of things. Where it's like I appreciate them because I've looked at them way too much, but also I know that the majority of people are just going to like brush this off and kind of like ignore half of these details. Like No More Heroes, for example, is such a fucking like well-written game and series, but it's also like it's very eclectic and all over the place, and it's like the fact that it jumps around so many different places, it kind of might. People might not realize like the level of depth that's actually going on with that one.
Yeah, no, no.
Also, yeah. Have you ever played No More Heroes or no?
No, I haven't.
Okay, yeah, you should pick it up. Like basically, it's about like it's basically like it's like basically what if a neckbeard decided to become an assassin and bought a lightsaber off eBay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's kind of like, and the game was like a meta commentary on like kind of like violence in video games, being like, well, if you actually killed as many people as you do in video games, then like you would be a psycho. So it's like it ran like the whole meta commentary thing like right before it became in vogue. So it was like one of the forerunners of like meta commentary, retro throwbacks, all that sort of stuff. Just play No More Heroes 1, or at least watch all the cutscenes off of YouTube, and you know, if you enjoy it, there's a trilogy and a spinoff.
Oh yeah, no, I'll play each one when I get time.
Yeah,
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. As a funny aside, the main character is based off of Johnny Knoxville from Jackass, actually.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we good on time, or are we? Or did we ramble off of that?
There's no time limit here, man. I mean, like the Alexander Empire one was like almost 3 hours, so like we can do however long we want. Man.
Well, to quote him, oh hell yeah! like, do you know about that clip, or do you not know that one?
I know, but
might be on his
welcome to my sex bundaloo. I know about that
one. Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I loved making like little like YouTube poop edit stuff with Alex back in the day, and there's unfortunately not half of the clips are from videos he unlisted over time.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're lost media.
Yeah, it's like maybe you can find the playlist or something, but there was one video that Alex did where he dyed his hair, and like he was like looking at his hair and he went, oh hell yeah. So I just took the soundbite and used it for a million things because like the video was fine, but I just thought the soundbite by itself had a lot of meme potential, so I just ran with it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'll still quote that around friends. Like, I'll still go, oh hell yeah! Like if they say something, yeah,
man,
yeah. Like it's like, oh, yeah.
Not to glaze Alex again, but like, like when I first started talking to him on the call, like I have this Onapex on my shelf, and I was just looking at that thing the entire time he was talking, and it's just like Onapex was talking to me.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro.
He's like, Onapex is like me for real.
Yeah, for
real. If
you
think about it. Yeah, has no friends except one guy that eats all of his food.
A skinny pink pump.
Yeah, pretty skinny. Like, yeah, like I just did talk about like how like he's like a massive fan of like Seinfeld and all of that.
I could have told you that.
Yeah, no, it's like Seinfeld, SpongeBob, and like Futurama are like his 3 favorite things, like aside from Bionicle.
Oh yeah, no,
yeah. Actually, what's kind of funny? Here's like another inside IDS and Callan story too. Both of them grew up watching Thomas the Tank Engine, and both of them have like a deep appreciation for like the physical miniatures that were used in Thomas.
Too, yeah.
So like, so multiple times like I've had situations where like I've had to sit through like 2-hour long tangents of them talking about Thomas, and I have no input. Like it's happened multiple times throughout the years. I've granted 10 years of friendship, and still it's like they sit through that, and then in the inverse, like I will go off on Sonic, and they have to sit through like a one-sided Sonic tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that's like actually like the only real thing that IDS ever gets really frustrated Callan and I for is that sometimes when we play Smash Bros, like Callan gets like way too into the Smash Bros, and he just stops talking and just hear joystick noises and he goes, dang it, or interjections like that. Oh. And then IDS is kind of like I don't know, I can because I'm trying to think of how to put it. So basically like Caleb will sometimes start talking about the game or get too into the game, and I just is like, "Oh, grow up, dude! Stop it! I don't want to hear about this shit right
He's
now."
locked
Because
in.
he's just trying. Yeah, because he's trying to like talk it, like just hang out with the boys, but then like Callan's like too hung up on the game, and then he starts talking about like the meta Smash Bros. And ideas. It's like I don't want to hear about that. It's like he treats it as like like a gay friend talking about like the one night stand he had last night. He's like, I don't want to hear it, dude. I'm not into it at all. It's like it's disgusting to me. Stop talking about it.
Yeah, no, oh man. Yeah, like
Yeah,
usually when that happens, like my friends and I, we have a few PlayStation parties, so whenever that type of
yeah,
thing starts happening, I just leave it. I don't even say anything. I just leave the party. I'm just like,
yeah,
fuck. There's no way
yeah,
to talk them out of this. I'm like, yeah. It's like, all right, call me back
yeah.
when we're talking about something that I can talk about. Goodbye.
Yeah, look, yeah, luckily I'm pretty good at like not being too much like that. Honestly, though, truth be told, I need to watch more television, man, because like fuck, the older I get, the more I realize people watch TV. But I can't watch TV on work, and I feel like I'm always doing something. So like, for a while I did YouTube because I felt like YouTube is just kind of like whatever. If you it's YouTube, you can if you tune out of it, it's not a big deal.
Mm.
But also, but as I gotten older though, like I know I've always loved music, but then like at this point now, like I've basically my main form of entertainment is actually listening to albums at this point.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, like I'm always trying to find like new music that I haven't listened to before, and like doing like a first listen through, and also like I really like I get frustrated at like how modern music, like the album structure approach is very much more playlist oriented rather than like what concept albums used to be. Like a decent example of somebody having an issue with that is like the like the Death of Slim Shady that Eminem released
Yeah.
just recently.
Mm.
Like the first half of the album, like I was like, oh, this is good because it was like very much a concept album. But then the second half of the album, it drops to concept album and it just kind of goes into like kind of like more of the playlist format. And I enjoyed it infinitely less like when it was doing that. Um, but um, but yeah, like Gorilla's Demon Days like is like one of the best albums in my opinion ever made. Like I encourage everybody to listen to Purple Rain because it actually is a very good expression of like a lot of emotions that a lot of people deal with. That like for the first time I heard it, I didn't really understand it fully, but the more I've been talked to people, the more I'm like, oh, okay, this is what they're feeling.
Oh, it hit you
Um,
like the Frank kind of meme from
Yeah,
Always Sunny. I
luckily,
get it.
I haven't gotten a full Frank I get it moment with Purple Rain, and I hope to God I never get that because holy shit, that's bad. But after talking to enough people, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand. Like I understand like it's what he's saying because like it does a really good description of like talking about like all the highs and lows and complications of trying to find love and all that like in Purple Rain, and like it basically like as somebody who's never experienced like true heartbreak, like I understand, but I've had friends that have experienced it. Purple Rain made a lot more sense to me.
Mm.
um I'm trying to think of another good album though. I mean, one that's like a one I listen to college a lot, but though it's but one I always encourage people to listen to is Guitar Gangsters and Cadillac Blood, which is like from a band called Volbeat. It's like a Dutch metal band, but they like American country stuff a lot. So the singer sounds like Johnny Cash while Metallica guitars are going
Oh,
off.
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's a cool sound. Actually, if you're if you ever watched Byrock Dude back in the day, like Sad Man's Tongue, like Byrock Dude did a little animation to
Hmm.
that song, like in
Hmm.
there. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like other things too. Uh, I do like ska a lot, and like was a real big like a big fan of Real Big Fish as a teenager and stuff, which kind of I think maybe got me into crosshairs of being considered like an NSFD knockoff or copycat because ska was kind of like his thing in the punk community,
Yeah,
but like
yeah, yeah.
we had
Oh
very
my.
yeah, but we had like very different. I don't know, we had like but all I'm going to say is like he likes BBL and and some
BBL,
other stuff, and I'm not into that
BBL
as well.
Drizzy,
Yeah.
BBL
Dude,
Drizzy.
I was singing BBL Jersey a little too much, man. I was singing it every single time I was taking a shower for the month that happened.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it was the whole, yeah, it was bad.
yeah. I was in
Yeah.
Hawaii in like this. It was like the summer or like Man, okay, it wasn't that long ago, but I feel like it's been a long time now. I don't know. My brain
Yeah.
is at the point where I'm like, anything past 6 months, I'm just like, was that 3 years ago or was that like the other day?
Oh
That's the
yeah.
point where my brain's at
Oh
now.
yeah,
But like,
dude. January felt like 3 months for me, man. Like it was a long, it was a long month for me.
yeah. It was the most recent summer, and my my brother and his best friend went to
Yeah.
Hawaii together, and that dude kept saying the BBL jersey, so it
Yeah.
just got caught in my head.
Have you seen the David Blunt's "I Can't Put Down the Cup" yet, or have you not seen that one?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, so he's just like this giant fat dude in like a purple tracksuit. He's thinking about how he can't stop drinking lean, and it's like I
Oh my
can't put
god.
down the cup, I can't put down the cup, and like the music video is completely crazy. Just look up David Blunts like smoking blunts like tobacco and weed blunts.
Yeah.
uh and like you will like it's like some of the craziest visuals you'll see like in a music video. It's like he's like being hurled down from the stratosphere, just like spinning out of control as this like giant fat guy. Anyway, and the hook is the most repetitive thing of this autotune guy going, I can't put down the cup, can't put down the cup, I can't put down the cup, can't put down the cup. And like I was tormenting my father with that like so much like this last bit. Like I kept on asking that, and like whenever he's drinking, I'm like, oh, can you put down the cup? And he's just give me hate looks
Oh
always.
my god.
Oh yeah, I know, but yeah, it's like you need to catch up though. You have it Blunt's like he's definitely like he's popping in the Instagram meme thing. So
Okay,
yeah,
no, good. No,
he's
I'll
yeah
catch on
yeah
before it becomes mainstream.
yeah. Yeah, it might be. I think it might be that way now, or at least it's close to that. It's almost hitting the peak of the meme cycle.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It's a meme stock. You might want like honestly, I think it like personally, if I were you, observe the David Blunts, but don't invest into David Blunts because people are going to need to start selling David Blunts soon.
Mm, mm,
Um, yeah. I don't know. What's the meme stock that's going up in your opinion? Like what's like an up and coming one that people haven't been peeping yet?
Oh, you see, like I send you IDS and some of those guys like so many freaking reels, but like I honestly the ones that I have been seeing, I think are kind of reached their peak. Like things that I don't think I can say on the podcast because people will cancel me if I say them.
Yeah.
But
Let's just put it this way: everybody knows what you're looking at on Instagram memes.
yeah, like you
Oh,
probably know who.
oh fuck! Damn it. Hold on a second.
Oh yeah, no worries,
Um,
no worries.
hold on a second. Like oh, this busy. Sorry, it's like
Uh,
my friend just texted me and like and I might need to pop off soon. But let's give it a couple more minutes. But
Yeah, no, sure thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's like I know a meme that was going around for a while. I think it's kind of died off now, but like the freak monks, the Diddy monks.
Oh,
Those are my favorite.
Dave, checkmate.
Jackpot. Yeah, like those ones. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Those ones. It's like the
Oh,
like the some of those screamings though like made me laugh.